And I'm not sure if you follow Candace Owens on YouTube, but she did a piece on religion yesterday that I think you would find. So Candace Owen became a Catholic 2 months ago, which is why she doesn't get silenced. Because really the state-run religion in America, there's already a state-run religion. It's Catholicism. It really is. We can use this, separate. People can carry on about Christian nationalism. No, the Catholics have been running the show. And I was born and raised Catholic, okay? But first of all, that's not where I found God. I mean, I found God, as I've said in other videos, when I got sober, like 3 decades ago. And when I realized that God was real because he saved me out of that depth of death, that it became just, it was so interested. Like I was looking at everything. It wasn't about religions. And I realized that right away was that, and as time has gone on, what I have found is that the denominations themselves have been what would be something I don't think that God would support, maybe to a certain degree. But with Catholicism, they've done everything against the Bible. Like literally, the biggest question would be when Jesus literally mocked the people in the marketplace. I bring this up all the time because there's a verse where Jesus is saying to the disciples, look at them in the marketplace with their robes and their sashes and their hats, thinking that they're so special. I mean, it's basically what is said. And yet then what does Catholicism go on to do that they never seem to explain? Well, the Pope wears a different outfit, so does the bishop, so does the cardinal. They all wear so that they stand out in the marketplace, so that you think they're special, so that you think what Jesus was saying, so that you think they're important. And yet back then, Jesus knew they weren't important because they wouldn't even recognize him, although I think some of them definitely knew who Jesus was at some point, but they didn't want it to interfere with their lifestyle. The denominations themselves have really just done a disservice. Maybe they all haven't meant to, but Jesus wanted a personal relationship. It wasn't so much about the rituals as it was about the relationship. That's what worshiping God means the most to God, is that you talk to him, that you have a one-on-one with him. And this world would say that's crazy. I should be locked in a psych ward for that. And yeah, no, that's kept me sober. Yeah, no drug could, no science could, but that has for a long time. So, what I would have never went down the road to find, really, had I not been on death's door as an alcoholic. I literally, went to AA with a horrible attitude. I mean, I did everything my sponsor said. I was desperate enough to do whatever they told me to, but I didn't believe any of it. I thought it was all nonsense. I just had this chip on my shoulder and this attitude, like, whatever. Okay, fine, I'll write what I think God is, or what I would, what the word God means to me, how stupid this is. Oh, pray every morning and thank God every night. Oh, how stupid that is. Like, that's going to keep me sober. I mean, my attitude was so bad. And then it was like, I just kept doing it, kept putting one foot in front of the other with that bad attitude. And I would say, like, at the probably more like the 4-month mark, that was when I realized, wait a minute, I haven't drank. Wait, so what's good? Because I just did it. I did it with this bad attitude, saying it wasn't going to work. So, and it's worked ever since then. So I'll get off the track, and I quickly find that when I get off the track of doing that there's, when you don't keep God close to you tend to get into more trouble. I don't necessarily mean in drinking, but you'll just, you won't make right choices, put it that way, when it comes to whatever. But so I don't think the religions, most especially Catholicism, have helped. Catholicism in America is we do have we literally don't have a separation of church and state, really, because Catholicism is put on a platform. It is the state-run religion. It's what they had in England, in my opinion. They elevate Mary to a point where, baby Jesus is always just a baby, and it's all these big Mary statues, the rosary. And if you're Catholic and that works for you, please don't, just write me off. It's just, there's a lot of things. And yet, then when I've come across it, at my first nursing job where I said I experienced all that hell, everything that was so unethical, I am not going to go into it. I've done so many videos about it, totally with the nursing union, the chief nursing officer. That was a Catholic establishment. That was a nun that ran the place. And yet she did that to me. So I've never really liked nuns anyway, though. They're always mean. But everything that they present is very different than what the Bible is. It's all showcasing that we're so special and important. And then yet none of the priests or any of those people ever want to address that. Then you look at the history, and I'm not saying there's not other religions that have been guilty of molesting children, but let's face it, the Catholic stuff, there's a lot of it, and it's been hidden, and they've moved these priests around through the years. And all I can think is we know what God says in the Bible about what he will do to people that hurt children. Yeah. So it's almost as if the state has literally, and the state still does, the state still protects Catholicism. I mean, that's why almost on every platform you'll hear how, the Catholics are being persecuted. No, if they are, it's because maybe God's not protecting them. But, I mean, you're innocent Catholics. But as far as the church, no, that's coming from God himself, I would say. Because God would expect that you don't follow a church that has moved priests around. You can write it off all you want and say that, well, that's just a certain person. Well, there's been many of those type people, though. And they all seem to do the wrong thing. All of them, all the popes. I mean, it's because they're too full of themselves. They're totally away from what Jesus's word is. And what it really goes back to is why Jesus didn't go to leaders of the church. Jesus didn't want all this hierarchy stuff. He didn't. Because then it becomes like, oh, they know best. No, go to Jesus. Jesus knows best. Just stick with him. You if your heart's in it, you'll know. Believe me, you'll know. It may seem like at first that it doesn't do, it's wasted time. No, just stick with it. I'm telling you, you'll know. That's really where the true bond is. Going to church every Sunday means not. I'm not saying it doesn't mean anything to Jesus, but it's like very small. Because there's so many people that have just done this. Oh, I go to church. I'm now a Catholic. Okay, what does that mean? I mean, I went to Catholic school and all of it. So believe me, I understand all the doctrine, but most of the doctrine doesn't help you understand Jesus. There's not enough of all these pastors that, why didn't all of these different priests leave their religion? Their religion became more, when like all these kids got hurt, or sexually abused. Why didn't you see mass amounts of cardinals, bishops, priests calling out the Catholic religion and leaving it? No, all of them stayed silent. Like, that should just be alarming right there. Just because what they wanted to protect more than standing on Jesus's word was they wanted to protect Catholicism. So, because it's a state-run religion. So, this idea that the Republicans are going to bring in Christian nationalism. No, we've been living under Catholicism, nationalism under Catholicism. Yeah, you have your other, churches that are all basically somewhat the same, but they don't agree, with the whole elevate. Everything the Catholics do is like, it goes away from Jesus. And then when they should do the right thing, they don't. So, that's the reason. Candace Owens will always get a big platform because, she went. Is that what Russell Brand went on to be? I know he recently converted, but I don't think he became a Catholic, did he? I don't know. It's not about the religion. It's about the relationship. That's what Jesus wants with you, a personal relationship. That's what the Holy Spirit was all about. It's your personal teacher that you always have, that's always there, but you just have to tap into it. You have to stop listening to everything this world says. Stop listening to the denominations and get to know Jesus on a personal level. What this world will push is Catholicism. They'll push a denomination. Jesus was not about all of this denominations. I would guarantee it. If I'm wrong, well, Jesus, strike me down.